Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today's topic is something that is the kind of thing that makes you wonder if you're living in a different realm. The comments to this particular topic is something that makes you think that how can people have so much different opinions? The opinion is left field than the way it should naturally be. But without further ado, I'll just get right into it. It says, am I an asshole for telling my dad to F off and cry to someone else because he doesn't get to blame me for his wife giving birth to a stillborn baby? My parents got divorced when I, 18 female, was 7, and my siblings were 4 and 3. Dad started dating his wife a few months after he moved out to the house we shared. He dated others before his wife. We met them all, unfortunately, and even worse is she was the worst one of all, but he ended up marrying her. My dad wanted us to feel like his house was the home he had, and his mom's was the place we had to be. Him and his wife would taunt my mom that we had 2 moms now, and Dad's wife would be the one we liked most and wanted to spend time with. Mom had stuff like that printed out in a file, and when I stopped going to Dad's house 2 years ago, she let me go through it. By then, I already heard stuff from Dad and his wife, so it didn't come as some big shock. By that point, the tensions were higher. My dad and his wife had no kids together, and their plan for me and my siblings to like the wife better failed. Actually, none of us like her. My siblings can't stand her. My sister more so because she's the youngest, and my dad's wife really tried to turn her into a mini her. My brother was the only boy, so got that attention, and being so young when Dad and Mom divorced, there was more hope that he'd play along. They tried with me too, but I was old enough to remember life without Dad's wife, so I think they always saw me as a long shot. My siblings spend significantly less time at Dad's now. They went from 50-50 to every other weekend, and only because the judge ordered them to go. My dad and his wife tried to get full custody and accused my mom of parental alienation, but her file showed that that was not true, and it was the other way around, if anything, even if it failed. After all that, my dad and his wife started trying for a baby. She had 2 miscarriages, and then her 3rd pregnancy stuck. My dad was away, not sure where, when she ended up going into labor, and she called Mom, my siblings, and me to try and get me to be her birthing partner. She wanted me to take her to the hospital as well, but I refused. She begged and said Dad couldn't get in touch. She begged and said Dad couldn't get in touch with Dad. I guess what she wanted to say is she couldn't get in touch with Dad, and she was scared and needed someone, and I told her to find someone who cared. We found out a couple of days later the baby had been stillborn, and I guess early, though I'm not sure how early. My dad wanted to see us, but none of us wanted to see him. He tried to insist my siblings be there, but he refused to go outside of the weekends. He tried to speak to me, but I ignored him. Then he made my siblings put me on the phone, and he blamed me for what happened to the baby. He said he heard I refused to help his wife, and he was a big mess, crying and yelling at me for not saving the baby and helping his wife. I repeatedly told him to F off and cry to someone else, and he doesn't get to blame me for his wife having a stillborn baby. When he finally realized what I was saying, he asked me how could I take that attitude when I lost a sibling. When he is still my dad and he was a damn good dad. I told him he wasn't, and he kept proving that. My mom trying to work with her lawyer to see if all this will change the custody order for my siblings, but we're not sure yet. My siblings really don't want to go to dad's house, but if mom lets that happen, then she'll lose custody and they will end up in dad's care full time, which none of us want. Am I the a-hole? Yes, you are. What I found surprising was the comments. The comments are really out of this world. Like, someone said, if your dad really cared, he would have had a plan for the birth if he needed to travel. And it's so weird you ask someone that you do not get along with to take you to the hospital. She doesn't have family, friends, colleagues. Why you? And the blame on you because she had a stillborn is ridiculous. The answer to the comments here is that there is a chance probably they didn't even know that they were in a bad place with this girl, with their daughter in the first place. And the thing is, sometimes we treat people as though like they are the enemy, and these people are just, you may not like them, it may just be like a parent that you don't get along with. But I still feel that the way you treated your stepmom and potentially your sibling, you treat them like they are, you've had, like they've done something way worse, like you're at war. Like, that is the way it comes across to me. I think that the little you could have done is call the ambulance. You wouldn't if you weren't going to make it. And the funny thing is, when you're in this kind of labor, you are not necessarily thinking. I mean, she probably couldn't reach her husband, so she tried to call you, and hoping that maybe you could come and help her. You don't even need to call my helper. You could have called the ambulance for her. The thing is, it's easy for everyone to make this kind of comments and try to make you feel good about this whole thing, making it seem like, oh yeah, it's not your fault. But the truth of the matter is, this whole thing, you're going to think about it. Because this is not just any other person, this was your sibling. You are 18 now. One day, like, as you get older, because this thing's it's gonna be playing in your head. No matter how much everybody tells you it's not your fault, you are going to keep dealing with it. Even your dad, for you to witness him crying because of your deed. I don't know if you were my dad. I mean, if I were your dad, you're dead to me. Like, I just think, like, there's nothing like you. It's something that I would consider unforgivable. They are not the perfect parents, but the other thing too is if you're on. Okay, let me read it again. So it seems like, so that means she called your mom, called your siblings, and called you, and you all turned a blind eye. The thing I'm thinking is, what do you think the repercussions of this is? Nobody, you're not going to go to jail or anything for this, but this is something that should call you to question and reflect, like, on say even maybe your mom, for your mom to even know about this and let it go like this, and you to, like, instead of you to kind of see this is your sibling that's being born, you are instead thinking of how to inflict things on your stepmom. Because of that, it's like a life has gone. Like your kid, your sibling, your half sibling is no longer here and there. It kind of makes me even question. I question your mom. Your mom did not even try to. Nobody even thought they could take responsibility then. I'm not necessarily saying, I don't even necessarily think you have to head there. What if, the other thing I'm thinking is, what if she kicked the bucket? The lady, because it's pregnancy. It's her, her life could be in jeopardy. You didn't even care? Is that how inhumane you feel towards your stepmom or your step parents and your dad, whatever. Ridiculous to me. And the worst thing I kind of think about is the comments here too. It's those supporting her. It makes me think we probably live in two different worlds, I guess. Because for me, it is me seeing this makes me think a lot of people lack common sense, or are many people out there just lacking empathy. Like, you do not necessarily, even for your enemy, at certain times, like the baby is not guilty. The child is not guilty. You could have helped. And the funny thing is, she replied, she said, I was the closest adult she knew who wouldn't be busy, and that was the excuse they/she made. There's nothing wrong in her calling you, whatever. You're 18. The comment after that says, she thought she needed to go to the hospital. In reply to the girl's comment. If she thought she needed to go to the hospital, she should have called an ambulance. Maybe she was not in the right because she was going through immense pain. Maybe she couldn't really process these things. I kind of feel like, what are these people kind of thinking? She couldn't really, because you're in so much pain. You're probably screaming your head off and you don't know how to calm down. I'm not a woman, so I don't know what it feels like, but I know the pain is tremendous. Like, it's so much, and sometimes when you're in so much pain you can't think. You just need somebody to just help you, and she cried to you for help, and whatever. Next comment says, yes, medical professionals are the best equipped to handle in an emergency. Original poster is trained to do nothing, and the time driving over there would be wasted. It says, yes, medical professionals are best equipped to help in an emergency. Original poster is trained to do nothing, and the time driving over there would be wasted when an ambulance can legally go over the speed limit. It doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is, you could have called the ambulance. If that was the case, you could have called the ambulance for them. It just shows, I'm beginning to kind of see sometimes, this comment, sometimes people are just, I'm gonna insult people, but it's like, it sounds sometimes like you're brain dead, or you're just really inhumane, or lacking in empathy and sympathy. You dislike these people or hate these people so much that you're willing to see even your sibling that has nothing to do with this just pass. The other thing too is, this is the way you even think about this now. You're 18. Your siblings are how old? So if you're 18, your sibling right now, okay, so that means one of them is 14 and one of them is 15. Do you think the same way you think right now will be how you think when you're like in your 30s? You're probably not going to process things the same way. When you look back at the situation, at these things, your siblings, especially if you become emotionally more in tune with yourself. And that's why I'm thinking, you did all these things, you didn't care about the consequences, you thought this wouldn't haunt you. But the truth about this is gonna haunt you. Like, it's whether you even think, oh, it's not my fault and everything, and everybody tries to make you seem like it's not your fault, you're gonna go around and to keep thinking. You're gonna think about these things. Anyway, but that's it for me. I'm going too far with this, but yeah, that's it for me. Have a good one.